networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 of Hot Mic, ready to rock and roll on this Thursday. Getting back on schedule there. We ran a little long with everything. We appreciate Les Bowen. That was good stuff from the Super Bowl. And it's a perfect segue for our next guest who it's every year we do this show, Super Bowl, this team's playing in it. Jory Collins joins us. It's Thursday at 10 a.m. North Dakota State women's basketball head coach and diehard Kansas City Chiefs fan. What's the spread? What do you got laid out for Sunday? Give us a little preview.
Well, I don't know yet. I got to get with Casey and we got to get that fired up probably this afternoon or tomorrow and get it all laid out because that's important.
So, done this a couple times here. Obviously, as a fan, I'm so jealous of this because your team's there. Are you excited, nervous? What's the? It's Philadelphia again. Too.
I mean, I think the Eagles are really, really good. I think the game could go either way. I don't know. People saying blowouts and stuff. I just don't see that.
No way. I don't.
I think it's going to be a great game. I think the Chiefs are probably a little pissed off, Dom, about just the narrative about how they got there and all that stuff. And I just don't know that you want to do that to those guys.
No, I'm not. You're not making anybody like that angry.
Nope. You get Pat and Travis and Chris feeling disrespected. They usually perform pretty good after that.
Well, so you and I both grew up in the same era where the Chiefs were bad, and so as a fan now, this has got to be the ultimate, right? You have the best quarterback. You have a I remember tight end.
The first quarterback I remember that I followed was like Steve DeBerg.
Yeah.
Way back, maybe 87, 88, something like that. And then in the 90s, we always had a good team. We always made the playoffs, but it was like at 9-7, 10-6. And then with Marty Schottenheimer, then you lost the first game every time. One time I made it with Joe Montana.
Yeah, with Joe Montana. That's right.
AFC championship game in 94. That was the pinnacle. And then in the 2000s, after Dick Vermeil was done, it was like terrible for 10 years. Just brutal. Multiple quarter. Tyler Palco.
Wow. There's a name. There's a name.
There's about 3 of them I could name where you're like, oh, my God, that guy was the quarterback for the Chiefs. And then they got Andy and Alex Smith and kind of settled it down a little bit, and then obviously made a great draft choice.
Yeah, it worked out all right. That's one's been pretty good. The Xavier Worthy one is like that one. I may have texted you that night too. I'm like, guys, they got another guy, and he's a stud too.
Yeah, he's actually improved a lot throughout the year. They kind of gadgeted me a little early in the year, and as they probably should have, but he's coming on as a receiver now too. Would they get Arashi Rice back next year and Worthy? That's a pretty good combo.
So for the game, like, do you turn the phone off? Like, hey, don't bug me. I'm watching the game. Like, how do you watch it?
Yeah, I get pretty, I don't like to watch it with other people. It's really just my family. And I'm pretty locked in on every possession and every play. So it's a full day getting ready. Try to do a lot of good food. I do have some beverages just to get me in the optimal watching mood. And then we get after it. Cheer them on.
There you go. We actually should talk about what we have you on here for. You've had the week off because you have the mini bye. You don't play till Saturday. I know we visited the post game on Saturday that you needed this. Tell me why. Did you feel was it mental or physical or both after the stretch you've been through?
I mean, it's first week of February. We've been going at it November, December, January, 3 straight months, and all the travel that we had, and it doesn't take much to recoup. I mean, these are young kids, pretty resilient. But man, if you can get an extra 24 hours somewhere of non-physical activity, those little bumps and bruises heal up a little bit faster. And we were able to give, Drapes took a couple days, just has a hip that has been sore, and just a chance to be able to let that ease up a little bit throughout the week. It's a chance to kind of self-evaluate a little bit for us. Tweak some things and, put some things in, take some things out that, haven't got anything out of, and just make some adjustments this week before you go on whatever we got, 7 games left of the regular season.
Yeah, the stretch run is here as the second half of conference play. Bison will play South Dakota coming up on Saturday, which I want to get to in just a bit. I want to reflect, though, on the game against St. Thomas, which, to me, I thought they have improved from the first time you saw them to now. Was that accurate? Granted, that was only like a month ago, but it seems like they've taken big strides in a 3-week span.
Yeah, and I think I told you guys, like, I think they started 0-4 in the league,
Yeah.
maybe, or something like that, and that was a surprise. I didn't think they were playing that bad. They just didn't win the games, and you knew that as a senior-laden team that'd been around and been a winning team,
Yep.
that they were a little bit better than what that record was. And then obviously, as they were coming in here, we're playing really well. I thought that was a good win for us because they're a really good team. I mean, you got a really good big, you got a really good point guard, and you got a really good scoring wing player. I mean, that's a three-headed
Yep.
headed monster right there that anybody would take on a team of some balance and inside-outside presence.
To have the fourth quarter, we saw that against Oral Roberts, saw that against UND, saw that against Saturday. What type of, I don't know if resilience is the right word. What would you describe of what you've seen from your team in the fourth quarter this year?
Yeah, I think just when you get into those moments, and we've had some game, we haven't really blown anybody out this year ourselves. We've been in dogfights in just about every game until we've had either a spurt go against us or we've gone on an 8-10-0 run or something like that and been able to separate. I think as our team matures, Dom, and just grows in situations like you understand, hey, this is, the fourth quarter, every possession matters. And we got to max them out to our fullest. And when you get 5 people out there together doing that, you got a chance to go on some runs and have some spurts and separate yourselves a little bit.
Avery Coonan had her third separate 20-point game on Saturday against St. Thomas. I know you'll tell me that's what we're expecting, but now that it's happened repeated times, just what kind of defenses are going to try and stop her now, seeing that she's got a jump shot? We saw that again on Saturday.
Yeah, I hope they can't figure it out. She's turning herself into a versatile offensive player. She's made some jumpers this year. She's been efficient around the basket. She's been able to put it on the floor and drive it from the top of the key and get downhill at some points. And man, it's really for Avery just her mentality of using her physicality and athleticism. And when she does that to the fullest, she's just a load to stop because she's so athletic and skilled around the basket. So I'm excited about her continued, trajectory. And I mean, she's got a long ways to go before she gets close to her ceiling. I really believe that.
You got to be over the moon. She was 6 of 6 at the line on Saturday. As a team, I think you guys were 23 of 25, which is, I know, something you harp on.
25 of 27.
20, okay,
probably
25,
the reason we won that game.
Yeah.
And that's an emphasis for us. I mean, I think we lead the league in getting to the free throw line. I think we're top 20 or 25 in the country in foul rate and getting fouled. And obviously we play into the post quite a bit, as much or more than anybody, and should get that way. But Avery's put in a lot of work. She wasn't a great free throw shooter last year, maybe down in the 50s. And she's been flirting with the 70% mark this year and above it for a while. But that's a good, definitely a great improvement and something that she's put the time in to do.
We visited often about Molly Lenz and what her abilities and what you'd like to see on the floor. She made, I think, 3 threes against the Jacks, 4 of 4 on Saturday, and just a little bit of a position tweak. Give us the backstory on that about moving her from basically being the point guard and moving to the 2 spot.
Yeah, I mean, really nothing in it, Dom, other than, she was scuffling a little bit offensively. Schulte was scuffling a little bit offensively, and just a slight responsibility change, to just try to spark just some mental change, basically.
Yeah.
And see if we couldn't get a little bit more out of both of them. And, Molly obviously had a tremendous week. I mean, if you're going to sit there and go, 7 for 10 from the 3-point line in a week, we'll take that every time out. And I think for her, I think she would tell you, just the mentality of, hey, I'm a shooter. And quite honestly, she's made some plays getting to the basket, but she's gotten herself in trouble getting to the basket too on some occasions. And I'm trying to tell her, you kind of lean into this being a great shooter. And we don't have to call your number or call a play for you to shoot it. It's, you got the green light. When you feel like you're open, I want you to shoot it.
Take it.
And I would love for her to shoot 6, 7, 8 threes a game, and just get those off and stretch it. We haven't. Our percentage is okay as a team. We're shooting it okay, not great, but we don't have the volume of shooters. We're not taking a volume amount of threes this year as we obviously have in the past. So. We're not making a ton per game. Like I said, our percentage is fine, but I would like to get another 1 or 2 a game just to be able to have an outside presence to go with our inside presence.
Does that surprise you on how you've shot the 3 ball, or is that maybe what you thought once the season got going?
Yeah, no, I mean, with Taryn ended up redshirting. That was somebody we were probably going to lean on a little bit to stretch the floor for us. But I knew Molly could shoot it well. I thought Riz was going to come in and shoot it well. AK was just super hot early. He's kind of went cold here lately. We're going to try to get her fired back up here for the stretch run. I don't know, with the exception of Molly, Dom, I don't know that we have just a stroker on the team. We got some good shooters, but not anybody that's just, going to go out and knock down a whole bunch like that.
So it's South Dakota coming up, and Grace Larkins doesn't need any introduction. Is she the best player in the league right now? I'll just say, I know Brooklyn Meyer's still in this conference, but where's Grace Larkins rank in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, she's right there. I think that's a preference on what do you like, between players. I don't know. Grace is averaging like 28 points a game. We just met on them this morning, and that stands out when you look at the stat sheet real quick. Now they run every single thing for her.
Yeah.
They put her in middle ball screen, 25 times a game. And she gets to shoot it a whole bunch down there. But it's also a good strategy because she's, highly effective. She just has a real awkward athleticism around the basket to be able to pivot and scoop and use different angles to finish. And you almost know what's coming. But she still can deceive you, and catch you off guard and find the angle to finish. Schulte's done as good as anybody on her in the league, I think, the last few years. But she's still going to get, she's still going to score 20 on Saturday, and it's just a matter of how hard do you make it on her.
How much you keeping an eye? They play tonight. They're playing Oral Roberts. That you're keeping an eye on what's going on in that one tonight in Vermilion.
Yeah, we'll watch. Yeah, we'll get on the old Midco app and watch that game tonight, and do a little pre-scouting and see, and we got a chance to we'll practice for them today and tomorrow, and try to get a good plan together.
I know Saturday you got a lot going on. It's National Women in Sports Day. It was nationally. You're going to recognize that. It's Alumni Day, which I want to ask that in a second. How has this totally blossomed, the National Girl and Women's in Sports Day, over the last couple of years, what you've seen up close?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome. These young ladies, I love coaching women. They are as dedicated to what they do and committed to what they do. Just tremendous effort, passion, for the game and for each other. It's just a great environment, Dom, to be in when you get around high achieving young people, especially young ladies that are goal oriented and work together. And it's fun. It gives you life. And to be able to see all the women's sports just kind of blossom. You think we've talked a bunch about women's basketball and what Caitlin Clark's done the last couple of years, but think about what volleyball's done. On the NCAA scene and some of the venues they've been able to fill up for some of those things. I watched last night the K-State TCU game.
That was pretty good.
The student section for the women's game there was unbelievable.
Yep.
So it's a great product. It's entertaining. There's so much sports going on, but the women's game has gotten so good that it's just as entertaining as anything else.
Well, I'll give a free plug tonight. Connecticut and Tennessee are playing tonight on ESPN. Yeah. That gets a prime spot on ESPN. 3 years ago, Jory, I don't think that happens.
Yeah, and it'll get watched too.
Yeah,
you see how many people will tune into that. It'll be a lot of people tuning into that game.
I know last year how emotional it was on Alumni Day with Rachel Otto back, and this is totally blown up over the last couple of years where you've got 100 former Bison women's basketball players. Do you have an idea what could be in attendance on Saturday?
No, actually, I don't. I need to check and see what we got. I mean, we always get a great turnout. We're getting to the point where a lot of these, you got their own kids, and we got to get it on the schedule really early so they can make, a chance to get there with all their own family things going. So the last couple of years, I mean, it's just been phenomenal, and they're a great group. They support us tremendously. To be able to recognize them, once a year and get to hang out with them and let them tell some stories is always one of the highlights of the season.
If you gleaned a couple of good ones, just maybe you didn't know, visiting with some past players?
Like some stories?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's, Coach Ruley and Coach Lane. You get those guys in there talking a little bit, get a couple beers in them, and start to hear what, the coaching was a lot different.
Oh, man.
Back in the 80s and 90s, Dom, and, some of the things you get away with back then and wouldn't fly in today's world are always the fun stories to get to hear.
It's great to see you. I will see you on Saturday. I don't need to wish you luck because you root for the Chiefs and they always win, which is the way it works. But it's great to see you. Thanks for the time, man. We'll talk to you later, okay?
Okay, sounds good, Dom. Thank you.
There he goes. Jory Collins joins us each and every Thursday at 10 o'clock. Bison in South Dakota. That's our lone basketball broadcast this week. That comes up Saturday at 1 on Extra. We got another double dip on Saturday, so we have that at 1. And then Saturday night, we've got North Dakota State wrestling as they take on Northern Iowa at 7 o'clock. It's a biggie there in Big 12 wrestling. Northern Iowa's ranked. So another long day coming up for our staff, but we're looking forward to that on Saturday at the Shack. We'll take a break. Got a couple emails to catch up on, some realignment questions I got asked, and some FBS stuff. It's Thursday. Why wouldn't? It's a day that ends in Y that we get asked about that. We'll break. Hot Mic rolls on this Thursday morning. Back after this.